Hi, folks. Welcome to Never on the Backfoot. In today's WPL Morning Show, we look at how RCB not just registered a win in last night's encounter, but also how they sort of flexed right their depth and resilience in a very commanding win over Gujarat Giants. I think a lot of fans and even the spectators were looking forward to this match because it was built to be a clash of the heavyweights, so to say, because the way Gujarat has been playing. But RCB too, coming in with two wins there was definitely going to set us up for an interesting one. Just to give you a run through of how the match sort of played out, RCB, put into bat first, had a very dramatic power play, like a blazing start, but a bunch of wickets when a massive gamble and Radha Yadav being pushed that high up the order, her producing probably the best knocks of her WPL career, scoring that 66. And eventually, RCB putting in an amazing bowling performance courtesy Shreyanka Patil's fifer, which sort of sealed the deal for them. And, Gujarat showing a bit of fight there with Bharti Fulmali uh, chipping in with a crucial knock, but it didn't come together, so to say. And in this discussion, obviously, I have Shajin joining me. So we will be breaking down all major talking points from that match. And to all the folks who are joining us in, make sure to, spam us in the live chat. We will take your comments up and let's make this actually a lively discussion, right? I know it's a Saturday, it's just 11 a.m. People are just getting started with their days, but we can obviously have a great conversation. So, Shajin, first things first, what were your thoughts on the game itself? And yeah, just talk us through that.
Yeah, hi Neha, hello the viewers. 9 matches done, and RCB are on the top of the table and the only unbeaten team of the tournament. Something no one must have expected at the start of the tournament, but it was an amazing match as far as RCB fans are concerned. But again, as although it was built up as the Gujarat Giants was RCB as a top of the table clash, you can say in some sort of a way with Mumbai Indians going down last night, but. Again, Gujarat Giants seem to be going down after that high of the first 2 matches, and they still seem to be having their problems with their bowling, and batting also didn't show up last night. So, but great win for RCB with all the things working out for them except for the top order batting. You can say that.
Yeah, and probably at this stage, I'm just inclined to say let's stop the league at this point and just declare RCB the winners, right? Because you want to savor a moment like this, not just as an RCB fan, but seeing them perform well across departments. I'm sure through our discussion there will be some obvious flaws in RCB's lineup that isn't working out that we will discuss. And yeah, I think Avinash goes on to say us a good morning indeed, not just for RCB fans but for people in general too. Again, Shazit, like your thoughts on the playing 11s, right? Opted for by both the teams. Like, what did you make of it? And did you anticipate any changes coming in?
No, RCB, we weren't expecting any changes considering the way they spoke, and they were unbeaten, going with 2 wins out of two, and in the last game, other batters hardly got any chance. So there were no changes expected. But as far as Gujarat Giants are concerned, I am a little bit surprised that they went away from Ayushi Soni after retiring her out in the last game and giving her the confidence. And suddenly they went with Shivani Singh, who again is a top order batter but batted at so far lower around the order. So I don't know what the thinking behind that. Maybe they wanted some firepower, but still they didn't use her in the top of the order. So that was a little bit confusing. Other than that, there was no surprises.
Yeah, honestly, that was a tad surprising. And seeing Shivani Singh get a call up, was again fascinating in that. And I think she had a very memorable debut, taking that catch and just being so electric on the field. We will get to that part a little later. But just talking about the role of the toss, like how do you think that sort of impacted the game so far? At least the past few matches we saw, right? The trend of how teams coming into chase were winning the match. But finally, the trend changed a little bit here with RCB sort of defending their total and actually making a game out of it.
Yeah, this season there has been a lot of teams one batting first, but the trend of winning the toss and electing to field has been continuing from the last 2 seasons. I think 30 more matches. I think the team won the toss and having elected to bowl first. So again, it's a good decision considering how the DY Patil and the Dew goes. So again, that's not where the Gujarat Giants lost the match. Again, they could have chased that target down, but again, props to RCB bowlers and the way they use their resources. But again, Gujarat Giants, this will be something they have to think about. Even in the last game, they couldn't do that against Mumbai, and so that's something of a worry. But winning the toss is not really winning the match. Winning the toss is not really necessarily equal to winning the match. Although these are conditions that chasing is easier and due comes into play.
Yeah, absolutely fair point there. Correlation doesn't apply, causation in this case. Like we have teams, who are sort of batting first, no, who are put into bat first and are able to defend their total as well. But let's talk about RCB itself, right? The kind of batting effort they had. They had an absolutely blazing start, right? Grace Harris was leaving no stone unturned and sort of just keeping that momentum going and ensuring RCB had a great start. And then suddenly, if you just went away for a while and came back, RCB was what, 43 for 4, right? Within those 6 overs itself. Like at that point, did you feel like, hey, the momentum had largely shifted from there? And what really transpired there? Like quick loss of wickets, the run flows taking a little bit of a hit. Like, what did you make of that?
Yeah, the power play looked entirely different after the first over and at the end of the sixth over, at the end of the power play. But there was a lot of help for the swing bowlers. It's just that Renuka Singh really struggled with her line and length, and the balls were really dragging down the leg side, and she went for a 5 ball wide. And then Grace Harris took on her on. But at the other hand, Kashvi Gautam was bowling really well, and she got that in swinging going, and she got that length as well, right? And Grace Harris struggled to pick her line, and eventually she got out. So that was something. And then RCB had their struggles at number 3 and number 4. So they couldn't handle the swing bowling of Kashvi Gautam and Sophie Devine after that first over of Renuka Singh.
Yeah, and probably this was the time, where most RCB fans had just given up hope because loss of so many wickets usually signals like a lot of bad things. But that's where I think we saw a very interesting movement, Radha Yadav being dropped there in the middle of a collapse. I mean, it was a massive gamble. As much as people now say, yeah, it was the right thing to do, in domestic, she bats higher up the order, but WPL is entirely different source, right? But just how do you assess her knock, right? In the context of the way the match was headed and just constructing that 66 or 47 under immense pressure, wickets are falling around you. Just massive props, right, to that kind of a knock.
Yeah, all props to Radha. So Radha has always been a confidence player, and RCB seems to be having a lot of confidence and a lot of faith in her batting ability. So that's something nice to see. And Anya Schultz also spoke at the press conference that it was tactical because they didn't want to expose Richa Ghosh and Aditi Clark a little bit early, but they were made to look fools because eventually Richa also immediately had to come in. So that was something they were planning. They had that in thought in mind that Radha will bat at 5 from time to time, but it will happen a lot more if they haven't sort out their number 3 position because Hemlata is looking all out of sorts from the last season itself, and I think maybe she needs a break. But it's again RCB are winning, and they don't have any other backup Indian batter in their squad. So that's something of a worry. But as long as they are winning, they will be happy. So, but let's come back to Radha. Radha has been doing this for in way in the domestic cricket for Baroda, but not so much in the shorter format. Considering this is her first 50 in the shorter format, she has done it for India in the one day format, and even for Baroda in the one day format. So confidence has always been there, and she has the ability to hit those sixes as well, those boundaries. So, and as Radha spoke, she felt confident right from the first ball where she middled the ball, and as Radha said, Richa has really helped her, and this is something of a new evolution for Richa. She hasn't been batting in the first half of the innings for most of the teams, be it India or RCB. So, and to help Radha, to guide Radha to play that knock, that was something immense to see. And again, all props to Radha. You can credit all the team management, all the other players, but still the batter has to go out and play that knock.
Yeah, it was one memorable knock. I think will go down in the annals of history as one of those, very interesting knocks that came under, such immense pressure too. I think Avinash also goes on to add that I can't believe Radha Yadav was this good with the bat, or was this just like a combination of poor bowling and good luck? Like Shajin, again, how would you address this, right? Because at that point, you felt like, hey, this is the same Gujarat Giants unit that got those early wickets, but was not able to dismiss Radha Yadav. But then I think, as you rightly pointed out in an earlier uh, answer to that, Radha Yadav is actually a good batter. Just it was a lot about her not getting the right batting position. But how would you address this comment?
Yeah, again, Radha Yadav has some ability, and she has a lot of confidence. And even Harmanpreet Kaur and Sunati Madana always spoke about her batting ability with immense faith. But for India, she used to bat at 8, 9, 10. at max 7 sometimes when there are only a few balls left. But for RCB, they have been clear from the right from the start that Radha Yadav's batting will be utilized. So all props to her again, all props to her for utilizing that opportunity. And talking of Gujarat Giants bowling, again they had their troubles in their bowling in all the four matches they have played so far. They considered 190. They have lost the plot after the few good overs in the first half. Again against Mumbai Indians as well, they'll consider a lot of runs in the back end of the game. So it's something that they will have to think about. And their use of bowling has also been perplexing, considering that they didn't use a single over of the left arm spinners. Both Rajeshri Gaikwad and Tanuja Kanwar against the two right hand batters Richa Ghosh and Radha Yadav.
Yeah, valid
Yeah,
point
again
there.
the
And
point
I think even, yeah, Avinash goes on to mention the same.
Avinash.
That what's the point of having Gaikwad and Kanwar in the playing 11 if you don't bowl them or just drop them, right? But again, Shajin, just looking at the second part of the comment, he says you can either play Indian batters or back them and drop Georgia Wareham and Kim Carr. Do you see this possibly happening?
No, I don't see them dropping Varro for anyone because the firepower she provides, they want that. Even in the last game, she had that knock against Mumbai Indians. So I don't see them dropping Varam for just her bowling. Maybe they will use her a couple of overs from her and Tanuja Kanwar bowling a lot more. Going by what Klinger said, it's those calls Ash Gardner makes on the day, considering how they feel about their bowling. So that day they felt that an off spinner and the leggy and Veram is good enough to control them, but it didn't happen, and the execution part was also lacking. So it is something they will have to think about. Maybe they can primarily think of Veram as a batter who bowls a little bit, and considering we will have to see because their DY Patil games are done and how the pitches in Baroda will behave.
Yeah, valid point there. And I think Georgia Warren too, right, was coming in with the reputation of having done so well for RCB in the past season, and even just playing in the WPL was the highest, wicket taker. So probably people thought that form would sort of spill on to the WPL, but again, the conditions are different. And right now, I think she's chipping in more with the bat. Again, time will tell, what's the kind of combination that Gigi wants to opt for, and if Kim Garth does get a game, right, because probably having an overseas pacer would really help things. And I think there's another question for us in the chat that goes on to say, any update on Pooja Vastrakar? I still believe RCB should play, Georgia Wall at number 3, replace Lindsay with Prema, and Wall with Hema. I probably thought of saving this question for later about the team combination aspect itself, Shajin. But do you agree with this? That probably a little tweak can happen?
Yeah, as far as Pooja Vastrakar is concerned, she had a hamstring tweak and she's still out for at least two weeks. I don't think she will be available for the season as far as I am concerned. But once she is not completely ruled out, they can't have a replacement. Maybe they will consider having an overseas replacement if she's ruled out by the next week or so. But as far as Pooja Vastrakar, she's ruled out for 2 weeks as of now. Other than the team combo, again, you can argue, but Anya Shropshall seems to be very confident. She's saying we have been winning all the matches, so we haven't thought about that. And they want Lindsay Smith to bowl in those power plays, and maybe it didn't work out last night, but again, that's something they have put a lot of faith in, considering they want Lauren Bell and Lindsay Smith to open the bowling, and in the middle overs, they want to control it with Arundhati Reddy and Shreyanka Patil. So I
Yeah,
don't
at
see
least.
them
Hmm.
replacing Lindsay Smith at least for tonight's game. Maybe they will think, or the only thing that will make them consider this option because of the batting form of Hemalata. If they want to bring in another batter, Georgia Wall in place of Lindsay Smith, maybe that's the only thing they can do. Other than that, I don't see Lindsay Smith getting dropped for her bowling.
Yeah, that's definitely a valid point, and probably to beef up the batting. That is an experiment RCB would be willing to take, right? Bring in Body at number 3, but that would mean Lindsay Smith would have to sit out, and hopefully Prema Rawat gets a game. And I think this was a question that was in my mind too, Shajin, and Avinash literally took it from my mind. What's your T-shirt, and like what's written on it? The million-dollar question.
Yeah, yeah, it's a
Yeah, I think a little bit of a tech glitch there, and till Shajin rejoins us, let me probably take this question. Shreyanka or Sneh Rana for the T20 World Cup, your choice. Honestly, this is quite a tricky one, right? I mean, both of them have been in such great form. Sneh Rana, ever since her comeback, right, quite rightly dubbed the comeback queen, has been doing so well. But Shreyanka, I think with her fifer, has again sort of reminded selectors that, hey, I'm here, I'm working hard on my game. It's honestly going to be a tough one. I think I'm still slightly leaning to Sneh Rana because of all the experience and everything she brings in, but she's having quite the, I'd say, dull WPL, so to say. But yeah, I wouldn't entirely be sad, if Shreyanka gets a chance to be a part of the squad, right? I'm sure because of how tricky 2025 was for her, she'd be raring to make a comeback into the Indian team. Missed the ODI World Cup as well, so yeah, I mean either case would be happy to see both of them, but I think it might just come down to either or because Deepti Sharma is a sure shot one. Another comment that comes in is next year RCB will be even more stronger. Perry and Pooja both will be available. Oh, absolutely. And I think as RCB fans, we will not complain one bit, right? Having both of them be in full flow and be a part of the squad as well. Yeah, I think that's definitely a valid one. Yeah, I think we have Shajin rejoin us. Yeah, Shajin, you're
Yeah,
back
yeah,
on.
yeah. Sorry about that. Technical arts with technical stacks.
Yeah, yeah, no
So
worries.
talk.
But
Yeah, yeah. Talking of the T-shirt, this is early T-shirt we designed for women's cricket on me and Ayan. So this says, "Let's be real, women's cricket is here."
yeah, love that. And hopefully a lot more copies of that are available, for a lot
Yeah,
of us to purchase as
this
well.
is an older copy now. You don't have to talk about this because women's cricket is almost everywhere now. Even in Mumbai locals, you can see them.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely true. And Shajit, while you were gone, we had some interesting questions coming in our chat
Yeah,
of
yeah. Keep them
Shreyanka
coming.
versus Sneh Rana for the T20 World Cup. Like your choice. Again, I was quite divided on this. Like my heart was telling, Sneh Rana because the kind of form she had in 2025, but WPL has been a tough one for her. Shreyanka Patil again sort of reminding us, breaking the selection door down there to, be like, yes, I'm here and doing my thing. Again, your pick for the T20 World Cup, or is it too soon to be having this discussion?
Yeah, you have put me on spot because I think both are very good options as far as India are concerned. I wouldn't read too much into Sneha Rana's WPL form. She has been sort of a bowler in WPL mostly for Gujarat Giants and now Delhi Capitals. The only good season she had was for RCB, but she is someone who has been doing well for India in the both formats, predominantly for the in the ODIs. And it's you have to weigh in things because Shreyanka is much more attacking bowler. She can bowl in all phases of the game, and she should be in part of the largest squad for India concerned. But the thing is that Sneha provides that firepower with the bat as well, and India likes having that batting depth. So that's something they will have to think. It's unfortunate that all the three best spinners of Indian cricket are off spinner, right arm off spinners, be it Shreyanka, Dipti, or Sneha.
Yeah, well, again, time will tell where the team management is headed, when they take a decision, because it's going to be a massive one. We've seen how Sneh Rana can perform, on English soil. So let's see. Either case, we will be rooting for the duo. And just before we move on to this match discussion, Shachin, we have another question that Avinash asked us about who is India's second wicketkeeper batter before the T20 World Cup. Yastika is ruled out of the WPL. So they have, sort of moved on from her. But when you look at the pecking order of, the Indian wicketkeeper batters as well, like how does that look like for you? Team India seems to be, experimenting with Kamlini now. She's had quite the up and down WPL. Again, a young star, can't really judge or take it too seriously in that regard. But again, do you have like a pecking order there?
Yeah, they haven't moved on from Yastika, but yeah, unfortunately, she has been injured for a long time now. And these things were unfortunate injuries. It's not like it's the issue to her fitness or something. The one she got at the WBL was a freak injury, and again at the World Cup, it was during the warm-ups in Vizag. So you can't say they have moved on for her. It's just that she wasn't available. So as far as I am concerned, she's still the best second best wicketkeeper batter for India in the both formats, not just in the ODIs. And she's a terrific keeper as well. So other than that, the options are obviously Uma Chetri hasn't got a gig in WPL. Unfortunately, she didn't get that gig, so we can't really test her and how much she has improved from the last WPL. As far as Kamalini is concerned, I think she's still a work in progress at 17. You can't really put a lot of faith in her, and and they have put a lot of faith in her. But you can't expect a lot of performance from her. She's a development project as far as Mumbai Indians are concerned, and India will have to be wary of blooding her. But I think most of the time Richa Ghosh is a sure starter. I haven't seen her missing out matches other than the one that she missed at the World Cup because of that finger injury, and before that she had only concussion injuries. She's generally fit to play in all these matches. But second wicket keeper is still a worry. But and teams are using part timers. So Shreyanka Patil is a good batter, but again her wicket keeping is a work in progress. So there aren't a lot of options if Yastika Bhatia isn't available.
Yeah, because I think India going back to Uma Chetri and like a bunch of other options like Tanya Bhatia and all of that might be very outlandish, right? Considering touchwood how Richa Ghosh has been doing well and her keeping is also significantly improving. Interestingly, we have a lot of questions coming in, not just about this match, but like at large about the T20 World Cup when we look ahead. Kavya goes on
Yeah.
to say, again, an RCB related question. Don't you think Smriti needs to back Prema Rawat because India needs a leg spinner, as leg spinners are very important in T20s? Shajin, do you agree with this line of thought? Because so far, whatever little we've seen of Prema Rawat, it's just that she's not getting enough opportunities. Has done well in India A and the domestics, and even playing for Uttarakhand as well. But somewhere that longer rope in franchise cricket could do her a world of good.
Yeah, of course, but RCB don't have to think about India's future and what they can provide for the India side. But as far as Prema Rawat is concerned, again, it's about the combination of RCB bowling lineup. They have a lot of attacking bowlers in Lauren Bell and Shreyanka Patil, so that's something they don't have to really worry. And they like having defensive bowlers like Arundhati Reddy, Radha Yadav, and Lindsay Smith. And Lindsay Smith is also an attacking option in the power play, so they don't really need that leg spin option of Prema Rawat. Maybe in some other squad she would be a sure shot, but still I would like to see her play a few matches for RCB and see how assess where she is, because she didn't get a lot of opportunities in the last season, and since then she has been improving, be it in domestic cricket or in the Australia tour of India A. So I would like to see her, and she's a very good fielder and a batter. It's not like they are missing out something if they play her. She's not like a pure leg spin bowler, but as far as India and RCB are concerned, they haven't been really trusting that Indian leg spinner. So again, going back to we are already talking about be it Sneha Rana or Shreyanka Patil. So where will you fit Prema Rawat again? And they have already two left arm spinners as well in Vaishnavi Sharma and Sri Charani. So a lot of spin options. Finally, having tried a lot of options, India now seems to be finding a lot of new options with everyone being fit and good to go.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be problems of abundance for India as they choose that squad for the next series or even the World Cup at large. And we have another captaincy related question here. Smriti or Jemmy, who is or who will be a better captain for India in terms of tactics and quick decision making skills, right? Right now, I think in all fairness, Harmanpreet Kaur is a ODI World Cup winner. So at least for the near future, they might not want to look beyond her. But again, Shajin, if you were to answer this question, do you think India might sort of have a split captaincy approach of Smriti leading across all formats?
I'm not sure. At least under the T20 World Cup 2026, Harman will be leading, and these two have been leading their sides for a long time in domestic cricket, be it Maharashtra or Mumbai. So, and they have been considered as good leaders by their fellow players and even the opposition. They have been told as people's captains. They have been very good at people management, both Smriti and Jemima. So a lot of players have talked about it, and both have been showing the. And obviously, you can't really predict who, or you can usually you really don't know who is making these calls. But going by what Anya Shrubsol said, Smriti Mandana takes all the on-field calls on who to use at what stage, and so using Lauren Bell in the power play and bowling her out immediately by the seventh over was Smriti's call in the first few matches, and keeping her overs for the back end. Last night also was Smriti's call, so it's a this was called Smriti. So Smriti has been given that complete freedom to use her resources well, and it's always nice to see. And as long as you are winning, everything looks good. But we will have to see how Smriti has led India in the past, so it's not something like a new thing. But as far as Jimmy is concerned, this is for the first time she has been in the on the limelight, leading team in the broadcasted matches. Or in such a stage like WPL. So she has been fine as well, although results didn't go her way in the first two matches. But the bowling results, especially taking those ball calls to bowl Shafali Verma and even giving Nandini Sharma the ball in the death overs. So she has been doing well as well. But as everything is judged by their results, so we'll have to see. If Smriti Mandana went on to go on to win another title for RCB, and we will be talking again about her getting that leadership role in the Indian team post Harmanpreet's captaincy.
Yeah, absolutely valid points there. And I think even with Jemmy, right, she has captained Mumbai in domestics. Again, these are not matches that are broadcasted, so we can't really comment on her captaincy. Whatever little we've seen in the WPL, she looks like a young captain who's finding her feet and is definitely someone, a lot of seniors in the team and even like probably team. Former legends also, sort of rate her very highly. So let's see where that sort of takes her. But Shazia, just quickly pivoting back to the match, we will take a few of the live comments as we proceed in our discussion. The Radha and Richa partnership, right? I think that is something that isn't spoken about enough. They both struck like almost 105 runs, came at a critical phase, right? So, like, what do you think made this partnership so hard for Gujarat to break? And did you think they somewhere lost control there and making a comeback just felt almost impossible?
Yeah, interestingly, this is the first non-Smriti Mandana 100 partnership for RCB in their four-season history. So that was something interesting to see because the thing with that partnership was they were really confident right from the start. And Richa Ghosh, I think, middled almost every single ball she played. That was, and she was also guiding Radha, as Radha said. So that was that partnership, and those middle overs where they scored 98 runs without losing any wickets. That was where the Gujarat Giants lost their match, and they really took on those two spinners, be it Ash Gardner or Georgia Wareham. Radha started with getting that six against Georgia Wareham, and then Richa Ghosh also took them on. So that was the phase where I think Gujarat Giants could have used that left arm spinning option, but I don't know what the thinking behind that. Going for off spinner and a leg spinner against two right hand batters. Leg spinner obviously you can use against right hand batters, but Wareham didn't have that rate of a night, and that was the phase RCB really took the game on, and GG didn't have any answers until they went back to Sophie Devon. Maybe they could have gone to Sophie Devon a little bit early, and they could have even finished Kashfi Gautam early, considering the way she bowled in the power play.
Yeah, fair points there. And just, spotlighting Richa Ghosh and the kind of knock that she played last night. She was striking at like 157. She was accelerating seamlessly. Now, again, how important was her intent, right? In ensuring that Radha didn't have to take those undue risks. And it's good to see, right? Richa being in this vein of form, not batting at the position that she's in, not being, used as a floater everywhere.
Yeah, again, Anya Shopsol talked about sending Radha in because they wanted to protect Richa, but it seems like Richa didn't need any of that, and she had that ability. She always had that ability to bat a long overs, and she has shown in the international cricket. In ODIs, at least, she had that 96-run knock against Australia, batting at number 3. But of late, she has been used as really at the back end of the game, exclusively as a finisher, be it for India and RCB, and that has some times has limited her game, and she has been someone who's having a lot of a big dot ball percentage and then going for those sixes. But in last night game, she showed that maturity to play that game where she had she has been doing that, and she even guided Radha Yadav, and she picked those flow balls and whacked the hell out of them. That was something amazing. She has always a knack of picking slower balls and hitting them out of the park. That was also something naturally, but it will really help her develop to the next stage, where she doesn't have to be consider herself as only as a finisher who will bat in the last 5 overs.
Yeah, I think we shouldn't really snowball and put her in that box of just being a finisher, someone who can, also be there in crucial phases for the game. Again, just going back to our live chat, because there were some thoughts, on Radha Yadav too. Avinash goes on to say, as Gautam Gambhir says, we don't drop anyone, we only select playing 11. So we can say that Radha has not dropped from T20s, they just selected Vaishnavi. A slightly interesting perspective there. And Kavi also goes on to say, I think selectors are looking ahead, from Radha Yadav. That's why she didn't get selected in the Sri Lanka series. But Shajin, a performance like this for Radha Yadav, perhaps we'll see a lot more of it in the season as well. Do you think she might be in contention for Team India? I know we already have like a bunch of left arm spinners, but then Radha Yadav again brings in that package, right, of being a gun fielder and amazing batter as well. Just the bowling, sometimes can be slightly on the expensive side. So again, problems of plenty for India here.
Yeah, again, we have already talked about the other spinners as well. The thing is that we don't know how the new selectors. I think they had only one selection committee meeting and they decided to drop Radha Yadav. Obviously, she has had trouble with her bowling even in only after that England series where England tour she did reasonably well, and coming back to India and again she really struggled. So that's something they will have to say. Again, considering Radha Yadav, I think fielding is her best skill, and now it seems batting is her second best skill. So she will have to improve her bowling to get back to the Indian side. But again, we will have to consider how they think. Do they need batting strength? Maybe if they swap Rana with Shreyanka Patil, then they will need a little bit more batting from their left arm spinner. So then Vaishnavi will unfortunately have to miss out. Again, Vaishnavi doesn't have the opportunity to show her wares in the WPL, so that's unfortunate. And that's the way things goes.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been great, if Vaishnavi too got a WPL gig and we could see what she had on offer. And before we move on to Gujarat's batting itself, just looking at Gigi's bowling performance, they used six bowling options. And Sophie Devine's 3 for 31 was, undoubtedly the standout spell. So, again, if you just had to give us an assessment of Gujarat's bowling performance and how it's been slightly concerning where they're conceding so many runs in back to back games, right? In excess of like 170, 180, do you think it's signs of concern already?
Yeah, we have already talked about this. It's always concerned that they have been leaking a lot of runs in the middle overs. After that good power play, even after that good power play, and someone like Radha Yadav in a wrong role, still they couldn't contain them, and they have been going for a lot of runs, and they didn't turn to their left arm spinners as well. So, and even the last few matches, Ash Gardner didn't complete her spell. So I don't know what's going on. I think they are underconfident as a bowling side, and they have been considering a lot of runs in the middle overs. That's something they will have to maybe use Sophie Devine a little bit more. But again, Sophie Devine is that sort of a bowler. They want to use her in the death overs as well, considering how Kashfi is struggled and Renuka is not really a death over bowler, and Ash Gardner hasn't been bowling in the death overs. So there are a lot of worries. I think Sophie Devine has been one bright spot, and Sophie Devine has been bowling really well from that 100, and even in the World Cup she has really bowled well. And for New Zealand as well as Southern Brave, and now against RCB for Gujarat Giants. So they have that bowling options, and maybe they will hope that Georgia Varum and Ash Gardner will come good in the remaining matches, and maybe they will have to think of using Kashfi Gautam early up front if she has been really bowling well, because she had those two big overs in against the Delhi Capital match again last night.
Yeah, I think all valid points you bring in there, Shajin, especially with Sophie Devine, being amazing with the ball. The rest of the bowling unit sort of, supporting her as much as they can. And one last bit before we, move on to Gujarat's batting itself, but Nadine de Klerk's cameo too, right? The 26 coming of just 12 balls, ensure that the total was pushed beyond 180, and that definitely helped the cause. But again, coming to Gujarat's batting now, when you just look at their run chase too, right? There are so many phases to it because Gujarat again started briskly. Beth Mooney wasn't, taking her time, just biding her time, rotating the strike and everything. She actually was striking at nearly 133. Now, again, do you think her dismissal was a big moment? Like losing her just before the end of the power play sort of changed the momentum and was always going to make things tricky for Gujarat?
Yes, of course. Considering the fact that Lauren Bell has been RCB's best bowler in the power play, and Beth Mooney has an incredible record against Lauren Bell. She has never been dismissed by Lauren Bell. So, and Beth Mooney took her on at the start of the innings, and so that's why they had to go to Shreyanka Patil early, and she struck in the first over itself, and had that great decision to convince Smriti Mandana to take that TRS goal as well. So, all in all, a great night for Shreyanka Patil. So that was the turning point, of course, at the start of the game, and again Sophie Devine also fell early. So Shreyanka Patil, the decision to introduce Shreyanka Patil early really worked for them, considering the fact that Lauren Bell has been bowling a lot of overs in the power play.
Yeah, that was definitely a masterclass, decision making from Smriti that introduced her in the power play. Because Gujarat again, from a stage where they were sort of cruising, they slipped from 38 for one to 63 for three. Again, did you feel that the loss of Mooney, you had Divine also get dismissed early, Gardner, again fundamentally stalled their chase, and the onus would entirely fall on the middle order once again?
Again, although Kanika had that knock in the last game against Mumbai Indians, I think she's not a number three batter. She has a lot of confidence in her ability, and she can bat at that number. But considering Sri was batting against Shreyanka Patil and Beth Mooney was also two left hand batters against that attacking off spinner was something that gave them that gave RCB the control, and with Shreyanka dismissing both of them, and then eventually once they fell. RC Gujarat Giants had to really consolidate, and considering Full Mali and Kashfi Gautam are not that sort of a batters, so that's where Gujarat Giants struggled in those middle overs.
Yeah, they massively did because losing Kanika Ahuja, Ash Gardner, Georgia Warren, again, did not help the cause. But that's why I think putting in perspective someone like a Bharti Fulki, right? Her knock, again, 39 of 20, briefly revived hopes for them. Now, again, how threatening was that stand, right? With Kashmi Gautam. Did you again think that momentarily Gigi was still in the game? Because I think we had a live chat comment as well that sort of asked us that with performances like this, is Bharti Fulmi someone who can be included in that T20 World Cup squad to sort of support Richa as a finisher? Because Bharti Fulmili, we have spoken about her India career previously as well, wasn't the best and she couldn't flourish as much. But now, again, finding a new lease of life with Gigi and again making a statement.
Yeah, her debut was a long time ago in 2018-19, and she has come a long way since then as well. The thing with India is that they like having that six bowling option in the playing 11. So how will you fit a sixth batter in that lineup? Considering that Smriti, Shafali, Jimmy, Harman, and Richa are alone, that's top five. Then you will need six bowling option. Aman Pips other options considering the fact that she provides that 2 over 3 overs. But although she's not a 4 over bowler always, that's something they like. Maybe they will have to think about if they go back to Radha Yadav and then have that batting depth. Then they might again the issue is that they like having that six bowling options, three paces and three spinners, or sometimes even four spinners. Sometimes they have been going with even four spinners. So I think maybe she could be a squad player in the top 15, considering they need a backup batter. And Bharti could be someone who can be used as a finisher in at least against sides where you can do with five bowlers.
Yeah, definitely. I think she will add a lot of balance and value to any side she's a part of. And just taking a few more comments from our live chat, Kavya goes on to add that I think there are a few flaws in Ash Gardner's captaincy, and Gigi was so much dependent on their first three batters, and especially in their batting side of things, which is a valid point, something we've spoken about previously as well. But Avinash goes to, I think, sort of counter it by saying that many people say that Gigi is too dependent on overseas players. But I see a similar case for, MI with their bowling. Their four bowlers are literally NSB, Ismail, Kerr, and, either Nicola Carey or Matthews, which is a valid point. Like Mumbai, this has been their, long-standing thing that their overseas players sort of win them the games. Sportsman very cheekily goes on to say that strange that both Hateen and Radha, who have not as much flourished, have shown that they have the capability to do well in T20Is, and hopefully they continue to put in performances like that. I think Kavya also goes on to add that I think from 2018, both Radha and Deepthi were backed so much, but Radha is being like inconsistent. That's why the selectors are looking ahead, from her. Valid. One last bit. I think in the MI match, Ash Gardner's statement of not bowling and only one bowling over was horrible decision. As everyone knows how Renuka bowled in those death overs. Shajin, I'll just probably take a pause here and ask you about Ash Gardner's captaincy itself, right? For her, again, like leading a franchise is a whole different ball game, right? WBPL aside, like this is the WPL, and making the most of Indian resources and everything. Just what have you made of her captaincy? The way she sort of marshals her bowling attack side of things, herself being a bowler. Do you see like some areas for improvement and concerns that can be addressed?
Yeah, it's been a mixed bag, right? Ash Gardner has been struggling to how to allocate her own overs in those matches, and she didn't complete her overs at least until the last night game, and it's something she will have to think about. And as Klinger said, all the decisions are made by Ash Gardner, and they will have to think about their Indian bowling combos because they will have to trust someone like Tanuja Kanwar and even Radha Yadav had that good game in the previous matches. So maybe they will have to think about that. The thing is that they don't have an overseas pacer to complement Renuka Singh and Kashfi Gautam. That's something of a worry. So I think Ash Garner seems to be trusting their overseas bowlers, including but not herself. So that's something of a worry for them. But the thing is that it's unlike Mumbai where the support bowlers, someone like Amanjot Kaur and Sanskriti Gupta are better suited than say someone at Gujarat Giants. And I think also the fact that Anushka Sharma's loss is a big thing for them, and they are not able to find a replacement. Anushka Sharma is also a good off spinner, but they haven't used her in the first two matches, and now they don't have her. So that's maybe they should use a little bit more of Tanuja Kanwar, especially Tanuja Kanwar is someone they can use a lot more of if she's not confident of bowling herself for Vera. Her captaincy has been a mixed bag for Ash Garner as far as, and it will be interesting to see what happens if she take on the Australian captaincy. And will she bowl herself out every single time? That will be some sort of a worry because she's one of the world's best off spinners.
Yeah, completely agree with you on that. And I completely forgot that, hey, Anisa Hilly's announced her retirement. And possibly in that India series itself, we might see a change of captaincy for all you know, and possibly, Ash Gardner throwing her hat in the ring there. But even just looking at her captaincy, to add on to your point, like in last night's game itself, Shivani Singh coming in so much later, like honestly didn't make so much sense, right? Because anyways, the game was going in like an entirely different direction. You should have probably trusted her to do her thing. But you sent in someone like Akashvi Gautam, Tanuja Kanwar above her. And props to Tanuja Kanwar as well, right? A lot of people underestimate her batting skills, but of 13 balls, scoring a 21 was great. But somehow you could still see, right? It was always going to be extremely, extremely difficult for Gujarat to chase it down because they were losing so many wickets. And before we get to Shreyanka Patil itself and sort of deliberate on her performance, Lauren Bell, right? My God, she was just bowling incredibly well. I know the figures don't do justice, like 3 for 29. Someone be like, yeah, like what about it? But then I think the ability to bowl so many dot balls, to provide crucial breakthroughs up top, like how important do you think was her role in sort of preventing Gujarat from, sort of building on that strong foundation and start that they had?
Yeah, Lauren Bell has been amazing and fantastic for RCB throughout the season. But one of the things last night was she wasn't used the same way in the first two matches. She had that break and she came back to dismiss Bhardi Fulmali. Maybe she could have taken the game away from RCB and even that Ash Gardner wicket. So that was something she came back and took that wicket because Shreyanka Patil went in to bowl the fifth over. So it has been amazing to see Lauren Bell coming back to good form after that Ashes debacle and a mixed bag of a World Cup. So it's always amazing. And RCB, there were question marks about Lauren Bell signing for the amount she got at the auction, but she has proved everyone wrong. So that's something of a lock for RCB now. Maybe 3 overs her in the power play, and a lot of teams might not be able to take her on. And considering at least in the DY Patil matches, teams have struggled to take her on, and she can do that role. And maybe RCB should think about keeping a couple of overs of her for the back end, considering the other bowlers' death over struggles, and maybe Shreyanka and Lauren Bell should be the ones bowling the death overs.
Yeah, I think that's something definitely RCB can consider going ahead. And I also can't believe it's almost 43 minutes into this live chat and we haven't spoken about Shreyanka Patil, the kind of performance that she's had, right? I think a lot of us can admit that we really love to see Shreyanka Patil amongst the wickets, a gun player, absolute shame that she missed a great chunk of last year because of injury. Man, her spell, right? 5 for 23 in 3.5 overs. Every single time she came on to bowl, she, picked a wicket and was just diligently doing her job. I think the interaction that she had with the broadcaster as well, right? She spoke about how she sort of went about the spell, what really worked out well, the conversations and all the struggles, everything, right? Again, just talk to me, Shajin, about like what did you make of her performance last night? The way she was just using her control and variation, outstanding stuff, right?
Yeah, everyone seems to be happy for Shreyanka Patil for that 5 wicket after all the things she went through in the last 14 months with multiple injuries. Some of them were really fake injuries, and she has been missing out since the last WPL, almost more than 14 months. So it was something amazing to see, and everyone seems to be happy for her. And it's not just that she's an amazing bowler, and she's one of those rare attacking off-spin bowlers because in recent times, T20 balls, a lot of off-spinners have been really bowling flat flat, really bowling flat, and she has that drift, and she has all the variations. And sometimes it seems like she has too many variations. And yeah, Anya Shrubsole spoke about that in the press conference as well, because she, after that last game where she struggled in the last 2 overs, Anya talked to her about not using a lot of variations, like trying a lot of things where you always trust your stop ball a lot more. And she had that arm ball as well, so that's something really worked out for her. And Anya Shrubsole seems to be really guiding her well. And the decision to have her trust her stop balls, her off spin balls a lot more, has really bowled. And she bowled that on a fullish length. She was able to struggle the batter, especially the two left-hand batters, and she got her buddy Kanika Hoja as well. So that was something amazing to see. And I think everyone seems to be really happy for her, be it Smriti Mandhan, Arundhati Reddy, and Radha Yadav. All the players really spoke about it, and even Radha Yadav shared her Player of the Match trophy with Shreyanka Patil. So that was something amazing to see. And it's good signs for RCB as well as Indian cricket, even though she might not immediately make it back to the squad, considering how good Sneha has been. So it will be interesting to see what happens from here on, and maybe she's coming for that purple cap again. Who knows?
Yeah, and I think as RCB fans, we will not complain one bit, if Shreyanka Patil is in contention for Purple Cap and, she's peaking at the right time and possibly, a change of venues too will largely help her cause and even get better. But just zooming out briefly, Shajin, like what do you think this win says about RCB's ability, right? They had a very tricky start. Even just looking at some of their, like just the campaign so far, some wins have been scratchy. Like the second match was a great win for them. But a performance like this, right, heading deeper into the WPL season, are you just convinced? And hopefully, RCB won't be found out in certain areas and they can still iron out some deficiencies.
Yeah, they have a lot of deficiency, at least as far as their batting is concerned, at least in the top order, or maybe in at 3 and 4 specifically. Gautami Nayak has just played one game and she looked all right, at least for the couple of shots she played. But as far as Hemlata is concerned, I think she's down on confidence, and it's maybe something they can swap Gautami Nayak at 3, and maybe they can swap Hemlata and let her come in a little bit later if they are still adamant on playing her. That's something they will have to think about. But other than that, RCB seems to be sorted with their bowling, and they wanted to go bowling heavy right from the start after Perry was rolled out of the season. So that's something they have struck with, and the results are there to see for her. But again, going by, they will be playing Delhi Capitals tonight, and then they will have to travel to Baroda and play again. So we will have to see how they fare in Baroda. But only one thing I will think that maybe they should think about bringing Wall in. But again, I don't see that happening, at least tonight, because Lindsay Smith has been bowling in the power play, and they trust her, although the results are not there yet.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see if they continue to offer the longer rope to Lindsay Smith or do they bring in a reinforcement. Again, the tournament just has 5 teams, so we will see, RCB play a match tonight versus Delhi Capitals. And Shachin, again, before we move on to our live chat and take some comments from there, just looking at it from a Gujarat Giants perspective as well, they had such a blazing start to the season, but now again, suddenly they find themselves in a spot of bother, a lot of reasons to be worried about. Again, learnings and takeaways from this game as they look ahead because they have a bit of time before they play their next match, which is again on Monday versus the same nemesis. So, yeah, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, they will be traveling to Baroda tonight, I think. The thing with, we have already spoken about this right from the first game itself. Gujarat Giants have their troubles in bowling. They have been considering a lot of runs, 190 in the first 3 matches and 180 last night, despite having RCB at 45 for 4. So bowling is really a worry for them, and I don't know how they can better it. Maybe they can think of bringing someone in for Shivani Singh, because Shivani Singh hardly was utilized at number 8, 9. But how many bowlers you need if you are not using Tanuja Kanwar and Rajeshwari Gaikwad? Maybe they can use better use, because Tanuja Kanwar had a better role in previous seasons for Gujarat Giants. Maybe that's something they should be thinking about. At least Tanuja Kanwar is someone who can bowl in all phases of the game, at least in the middle overs and in the power play. Maybe they can use her like RCB has been using Lindsay Smith.
And Shajin, here, just out of curiosity as well, to get your thoughts on this aspect of a lot of people, have this perspective that say when you have an overseas captain and an overseas coach, probably their understanding of like Indian, capped and uncapped players is not so much. That's why, you sort of see them being playing out of position or not being used to the best of those abilities, as opposed to say an Indian captain who has more ideas there. So, yeah, how would you sort of address this claim? Like, do you think probably Ash Gardner obviously can do better, but then not understanding like all the resources is again a cause for concern?
Yeah, that's where the squad balance comes in play, because you see at RCB, Hemlata is playing even though she's underconfident, whereas at DC, Diya Yadav, someone who had a great season, great domestic season, isn't getting opportunities. That's something you will always see, going by the way the auctions went. So again, Ash Gardner and Klinger have been around for Gujarat Giants for the last 2 3 seasons. Well, maybe it's about the Indian support staff who needs to help them, but I don't know who can help them. But again, they don't have a marquee Indian player who can help them with these things. Someone like Renuka is not that sort of a player, and Kashvi Gautam is very young, so maybe they will have to rely on the data or something to make the get the best out of the Indian players. Maybe Anushka Sharma would have helped at number three. Maybe they could have used her off spin as well, but she was in bowling when she was playing. The only thing they can do is that someone as experienced as Tanuja Kanwar and Rajeshwari Gaikwad, maybe they can make better use of it, and maybe they can get the best out of those two players. I keep going back to those two left arm spinners. So those two are the only thing I think they can do better as far as bowling is concerned. Batting again, they have a lot of worries. Maybe Ash Garner will go back to the form she showed at the start of the tournament, and they maybe again I think maybe one of the things maybe they can do is that swap Kanika Ahuja and Ash Garner batting order, maybe 3 and 4, or even Kanika coming at number 5 and forming that partnership. But Bharti Fulmali will help. That's the only thing I can think they can do as far as their bowling is concerned. They will have to hope that Divine and Varam can come good. Divine has been really bowling well, but Varam hasn't had that season that she had for RC.
Yeah, at this point, I think GG has to optimize for the kind of resources they have, and I think it's just about figuring out and just getting those nitty gritties right. Just moving on to our live chat briefly, Avinash says, "See you tomorrow with UP winning and RCB losing." Usually, we don't do predictions on this show Shajin, but just to sort of play along here. For the uninitiated, we have Mumbai Indians take on UP Warriors at 3 p.m. today, and Delhi Capitals take on RCB at 7:30. So, Shajin, if you had to make predictions on who are going to be the winners, do you agree with Avinash here, or are we going to see some sort of upsets maybe?
No, I'm not going to make any predictions considering that UP won that last game after I made the prediction that Mumbai Indians will win. I think maybe Mumbai will come back. Mumbai had that worry in the power play, and that's something they want to address. And maybe Haley Matthews will come back, and UP will finally find that Mumbai Indians will come back, and UP will be struggling again. I don't know if that will happen. If UP wins, it's good for the tournament because everyone will be on 4, and RCB will be the only team on 6 points or 8 points, considering how the DC match goes. And I hope DC wins as well, because that then they will also have 4 points, and that will make the Baroda like more interesting.
Yeah, Shajin here clearly not showing his affiliations or liking to any team, and hoping for a much more open table. And Kavya comes in with another question, or rather a comment that says, Shafali, that UP Warriors match bowled so much well. Phoebe, Meg, Hurleen, three of them struggled. I think now Captain Hardman has one more option. They can, sort of bowl 2 overs of her in that T20 World Cup. Nice to see this foresight, for the World Cup too. Thank you, Kavya, for this comment. Let's see how that plays out. I think we're almost done with our live chat questions. Avinash goes on to ask me, Neha, do you play pull shot from the front foot like Rohit Sharma? Obviously, the reference being to the channel's name, because never on the back foot. Nice one there. And yeah, I think that pretty much does conclude our discussion too. First things first, thank you so much, Shajin. I made you sit through 53 minutes on a Saturday to discuss this match, where we discussed not a lot about the match, but a lot of other things as well. But it was definitely a fun, lively chat. And to all the viewers who joined in, It was really amazing to have you on. We hope to see you through the rest of our WPL season. And please keep joining in like this and keep spamming us in the live chat. But yeah, folks, until next time, stay safe, take care, and yeah, see you later. Bye for now.
See you. Bye bye.